when you feel it, your body will follow.
Yeah, I just kind of imagine myself in a gentleman's club.
What people usually try to do, they try to force body into positions that are not, and your mind is running. Oh my God, how do I look? Well, just get your mind sorted first, and the body will fall naturally in that concept.
Hello everybody, it's Amadeus. Today I'm sitting with a very special guest. I'm very excited about this. Jarek.
Hello.
From Pro Image Studio. It's going to give us some photography tips for the photographers out there or any creatives. This would be great for you. So Jarek, we met, I believe, like 2 weeks back. We was actually filming in this studio.
That's correct.
And you told me that you've been in the photography industry for 10 plus years. So my question is, what was the first camera that you had?
My first camera was the film camera, and it was Minolta. My second camera was also Minolta. That was the first and last digital camera they ever made, because they were acquired by Sony soon after. So that's how my adventure with photography began.
And then when you bought your first camera, was it more of a hobby, or like was it a passion or something?
It was definitely. It was both hobby and passion, and well, it sort of started dictated by the circumstances. I actually used to work for cruise line industry, so I've traveled a lot and went to all amazing places you can think of, like Seychelles, Bermuda, Hawaii, Bahamas, and like you name it.
Wait, so what were you doing there? What were you doing?
Well, I work in 2 different departments. I work in the casino department, and I also work in the fitness department, as I have actually a degree in sports science, so completely unrelated to photography. But yeah, that's how it all started. So, everything happens for a reason, and just I really started to enjoy.
So as you was traveling, I'm assuming you purchased your first camera, and then so at what point did you realize, like, wow, like, okay, maybe I'm starting to get a little bit good at this, What was that point?
Okay, I still have not reached that point where I think I'm good at it. So I try to learn every day something new, and this is actually the beauty of photography, because there's so much to learn, and this industry is changing every day. The fashion changes, the technology changes, and it's just never-ending journey, and that's exactly what draws me into it, because I get bored really quickly doing repetitive things. So this is a perfect career path for me, because not 2 days in the last 10 years have been the same, and I absolutely love it.
All right, so 10 years. I want to kind of take you like back, because I know a lot of us creatives, it's difficult for us to turn our hobbies into a freelance job, into maybe a career, and then do it, prolong it. So do you remember your first like paid customer or the paid experience for photography?
Well, I have to say it wasn't a big jump for me. It happened organically. Well, I used to, when I work on a cruise line, I used to date a girl that, sorry honey, I'm about to get married, by the way.
No.
So probably not the best story to tell, but if it's important, I tell it. So I dated a girl that was a dancer. Because these big cruise liners, they have like sort of West End shows on board of the ship. So And well, this is how I actually started taking sort of more professional pictures of people. And then at first, obviously, we just did it for enjoyment. Then I was noticing improvements. And then her friends would ask me, oh, you took such a good pictures for her, could you take some for me? And soon after, they started offering me small money for sort of a favor. and just, you know, there was like, I was getting better, the money was getting better as well. And there was one point when I actually quit from the cruise line, I came to London, and that was the moment I had to actually take a bigger decision. So instead of buying apartment, because I was saving, I was on the cruise line for nearly 6 years, saving money to buy a place. But instead, I actually made a decision to start a business, and never look back. I'm very happy with my decision.
Oh, okay, this is, you know, I love these stories. So, okay, so, all right, I want to take a step back. So, you started, it was like you started doing small gigs, getting small payment, you came here, you decided to invest in a business. Okay, when you decided to invest in a business, what did that entail? New camera, new equipment, what was that investment like then?
Well, we actually went, back then it was really, since I used to live and work in States, because our company was actually based in States. So we knew the market quite well, and there's probably most photographers know that there's a massive, probably biggest in the world, store in New York that's called B&H, and they have just everything you can think of for photographers. So we actually went to, once I settled in London, we actually went in for a trip to New York, specifically to purchase everything we could. It was still, back then it was dollar to pound was 2 to 1, so it was worth actually taking the flights, booking one night in a hotel, buying all the equipment, coming back, and we still saved quite a chunk of money on that move. So yeah, we didn't have unlimited funds, so we had to be smart about it, and that was it.
So what did that entail? Like, what were the things that you purchased?
What have we purchased? That was the time when the original 5D, Canon 5D came out. So we bought 3 of those. We bought quite a library of lenses. We bought 2470, 7200, 85 millimeters, 50 millimeters, several speed lights, like, you know, all the stuff that we thought we needed. Then we came back and we found a place for a studio, and then we spent the rest of the money in London for the studio lighting. And there's a company called Flash Center that actually, we still use Elinchrom in our studio, very happy with it. So they help us a lot with, because obviously we didn't have experience in like setting up studio from the scratch. So the folks there are really, really helpful. So they gave us good deals and really good advice. As a matter of fact, we made a wrong purchase at the beginning. We bought the lights that we thought that would be sufficient. I was a little bit cheaper. But unfortunately, well, cheaper usually means one thing, is a lower quality. And for the amount of work we were, you know, for the volume of work we had planned, we soon realized that these lights are not keeping up. So we took them back and purchased the highest at that time model. And they really, we still have some of these original lights in here.
Wow,
yes.
amazing,
So
amazing.
It's probably like 8 years since we, or 7 years since we have the studio, and some of this original equipment still around.
So this is quite a fairy tale story. You bounced around, and you went from the States, London, and then things kind of come rapidly to you. So I want to split this in two. I want to split this into the amateur photographers wanting to go to the next level, and, you know, the more experienced photographers, again, wanting to go to the next level. So let's start with the amateur, right? Because I'm kind of in that field. I've only been doing this for 3 years now. So now you kind of had it the good way, you know, not the good way, but like most people don't start off with a high camera. A lot of people, they have to maybe build themselves up. But what do you think is a good camera to start with for professional photography, videography?
Okay, well, let me actually answer that question a little bit from the different angle. First of all, it wasn't a fairy tale. Second of all, it did not come easy. I worked really, really hard for the 6 years
I made a mistake by saying that.
to acquire all that equipment. So it didn't start the moment we purchased it. It started 6 years before that. So I don't know if there's many people that would actually go to the bank and pull out all the savings they had to buy their first ever house or apartment, and just go and you know, punt it on a camera and lenses. You know, it was anything but easy. I was terrified. I really didn't know if that's a smart decision or not. Well, thank God. But the thing is, like, if you want to conquer the island, you burn the boats. Have you ever heard that?
Of course, yeah.
So once I made that decision, I pretty much had no
other choice. You had to
no
make it
other
work.
choice. Yeah, just to go forward from there. And if you put yourself in such position, it really, I mean, once, you know, most people have things they want. We never get things they want. We get things that we must have.
So it was a must-have for you. This was
I could absolutely, I had no margin for mistake. I could not afford mistakes. So I was working other jobs, you know, at night. I was trying to run the studio at daytime. I had very little sleep, a lot of stress.
So,
but this is what brought us
fantastic.
here.
I got a little misconstrued there. So I want to take you back to that area then, because I've actually put a huge chunk of money into something and it flopped. That was a terrible experience for me, you know. So how do you know when something is the right investment? When you can honestly look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm about to put a huge chunk of money in this, but I know it's the right thing. Like, what were some of the, how did you come to grips with that decision?
I don't think there is such thing. Like, I will know. I actually read a lot of business books and like listen to entrepreneurs, and what separates successful people from unsuccessful people is how they pick themselves up from these failures. Ask any successful person that they are successful today, and I guarantee you that they failed more time than anyone that is unsuccessful.
Exactly.
The failure is just what keeps them going. I mean, there's no such thing. You can never know. It's just what happens next.
So like, I mean, so for me, let me tweak the question a little bit. So right now, I'm filming these interviews, right? I don't get paid for this. You know, when I do video production, I get paid, but this is a passion of mine. My brothers are saying, you know, yo, Amadeus, you should charge for this. You should. I'm like, I don't want to do that, because I kind of see it as an investment. Me doing these interviews, I'm taking, I guess, an investment right now.
That's absolutely correct.
And the reason why I can make that decision is that, okay, I just feel it. I just know it's the right thing. And even though I can get a job or I have job offerings, I was like, nah, this is it. I know it is. So what was it for you? Like, how did you know? Okay, this.
I think it's the same feeling. It's the same feeling. You have that burning desire that just pushes you forward. And you know, if you have a job, then you go there for 8 hours, you're tired and you don't want to go the next day. But if you have that passion inside, you don't mind working 16 hours a day, which I often do. Even now, I often work like really long hours, and it's hard, but it just doesn't feel hard because it brings you joy. So although don't know how to describe it, it's difficult to describe feelings, but you have that thing inside you. I think passion is the best thing. If you have passion for what you do, you never work one day in your life. It's a saying that I think it's true to life. So it really works that way for me, at least.
So you had the fire. You went and did it. Boom. Now once you decided to withdraw that money into and put it in your hands, say, okay, I'm going. After you made all the purchases, boom, you went to New York, but we bought everything. What was some of, okay, now we have to do this, we have to do that. What were some of the tangible things that you had to do as soon as you purchased it, if you remember?
I tell you what, it wasn't easy because, well, the first we're excited about the decision and everything.
And sorry,
But
who's
then,
we? Who's we?
I actually have a business partner.
Oh, okay.
Actually have a business partner. So I'm not really, we nearly like brothers. So I'm not really sure because some people advise not to have business partners because it gets hard if many businesses fail because of the difference in opinion between the partners. Well, I'm lucky enough, we're quite different and we sort of complement each other and it's working for us, but I can't tell people, look, just get a business partner. Of course, it's easier if you get along. Of course, it's better to do scary things when there's someone there with you. But like I said, I know a lot of businesses that was the very reason they failed because the business partners, like they could not agree on things. And
so I want to jump to that a little bit later. But so yeah, again, so boom, you made the purchase, you buy all the equipment. Now, what's some of the tangible things that you had to do to get yourself up and running now?
Okay, well, the first thing we had where we found a place for a studio, we bought equipment, and then, well, we tried to advertise it on the internet for like really cheap prices, just to get people interested.
Using
we
Google AdWords at the time?
We used Gumtree back then.
Oh, okay.
We used Facebook, we used Google AdWords. Like pretty much anything we could at the reasonable amounts of money that we had, but we were hoping that if people come and see, and then the price, really, we had prices that back then we were actually happy to break even on the first few months. If we didn't have to put any extra money into that business, that was a good month. So we obviously, like I said, it's hard to sustain it if you don't have other job, but we both had other jobs. We just like really worked 16 hours a day, full-time job somewhere else, and then running the studio, alternating, and we somehow made it work. So we got this initial customers, and we pretty much knew what we wanted the service and the studio and everything to look like. So we knew once we get the people in, we want them to leave our studio really happy and impressed and just go and talk to other people about it. And it sort of worked out. But like I say, it's really important that if I had to give people advice, starting a business is not just initial amount that you need. You also need some X amount of money, depending obviously on the business and scale of the business, to sustain your business for first few months. It's really hard. I barely know about businesses that they make money from day one. It will always be struggle for first few months before you actually, get anyone interested in your business. It just doesn't happen overnight.
So you had the first few customers, and you said you wanted to focus on her customer experience.
Correct.
And so how did, all right, you're doing all right. I'm kind of just going into your story a little bit.
No problem.
So, focusing on customer experience, bringing people through the door, and that mainly came from online traffic?
Yes, I'd say most of it.
Most of it.
Most of it.
And did you do any other campaigns to get people through the doors, or was it at that point was it just word of mouth?
No, we kept doing what we were doing. Quite frankly, we probably spent the first 2 years several £1,000s on on the online marketing, like Google AdWords. Back then was a little bit easier to position your website, so we had hired some people for website positioning. Although we have experience now, we struggle much more with it than we used to back then. But now we just don't need it as much. But we actually managed back then to be on the first page of Google after just a few months of existence. And like I said, we use Gumtree, we use some Facebook. I mean, pretty much anything you could put your hands on, we did it.
And then, so back to the question of the amateur. Do you think it's necessary for someone, which route would you prefer? I mean, now that, because you have more experience now, would you prefer I'm going to save money for 3 to 5 years, then start? Or would you prefer I'm going to work on the side, have a full-time job, and do photography? Or just say, I'm going to do photography? Which one would you would you prefer as a good as a?
Well,
as a good start?
there's a fine line because I don't think it's easy these days to just drop everything and just say one day I'll be photographer. You're probably setting yourself up for a disappointment if you don't have like substantial amount of money already saved to back you up, which I understand we probably be talking to mostly young people, which I understand they don't. So I think the best thing to do is work your full-time job, and then just spend your free time on your passion, because that's how pretty much everyone do it. Look all the great actors, look all the entrepreneurs, business owners. This is how most of them, they were waiting tables or doing some other low-grade jobs just to support your passion, because well, let's be honest, passion at first is just something that requires money, not brings money. So if your passion is strong enough that you actually are willing to sleep little, have little time for clubbing, drinking, TV and anything else, and you put all the spare time that you have after your full day of work. Obviously we're tired, we want to go and socialize, we want to have drink, watch TV, but you need to make a decision. If you're willing to sacrifice all that to feed your passion and to spend the money that you really had to work hard for to fuel that passion, then only then is a chance that it will come back and pay you all that and then some.
So to kind of wrap up what you said, you would say it's probably best to kind of work on the side and work on your passion at the same time?
I would say definitely yes, at least on the beginning. And until you reach that point where your day job kind of stands in the way of the development of your career. If you, let's say, talking about photography, you can only book X amount of clients if you work full day job, right? Then once that time is filled, then you need to make a call, right?
The difficulty with me is I do video production, and it's like, if I was to get a full-time job, I mean, I'd love it. Because in video production, I'd love it. It's just that I get calls maybe at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, or like a 3 p.m. on a Friday. That's where we met. So it's like, how can I really, I'll only be able to work on the weekends or after work. So what about someone like that? Like, it's just not, it's not really, that's the problem I have. Maybe some people have that problem.
I understand.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not easy. It's not easy.
It
But
is-
there
it
are
is
jobs
crazy,
out there. There are jobs that you can do at night. Well, no one's going to call you for video production or 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. Well, if you really, really want to do it, you can get one of these jobs. And like I said, I actually, when we started the studio, I work in a casino. So I work at night and I run studio at day.
Okay,
So,
nice.
It is doable.
Okay,
it's just
all right.
how bad do you want it?
All right, I'll consider it, I'll consider it. You said that you studied sports psychology.
Sports science in general.
Sorry, sports
it
science
does have
engineering.
psychology
Sports
included
science,
in
yes.
it. Yeah.
And then I can tell you're quite fit. Right?
Thank you.
So how important has health, played into just overall running your own business?
Okay, well, that's a fair topic, and well, I have very strong opinion on that. Some people may agree, some people may disagree, some may even get offended. But I believe, your brain, well, that's what we usually, in general, that's what we use for our business decisions, everyday life decisions, and creative decisions. And our brain is fueled by the rest of the body and by the things that we actually eat and consume, right? So just imagine if you put really, really bad, low-grade quality petrol into your car, how well is it going to run? And how far do you think you can get?
Not so well, not so far.
Exactly. And well, I really believe that this is like the base layer of everything in life. Most successful people, I don't say all, because yes, some people will argue such and such is not fit and is successful. But obviously they are individuals. But when you look at most people, Barack Obama was the president of the United States. He worked out every single day. that's how, you know, that's how important. And I'm sure he had million extremely important things to do every single day. And yet he thought that exercising was one of his priorities. Like, look at other people. Most successful people, they actually do have how you name it? They're very aware of the health and nutrition importance in one's life.
I realize that you said that health is important for a lot of people. You mentioned Barack Obama, but why is it important to you?
Well, I'll tell you a story and a few facts from my life that most people don't know. I actually, a few years back, I found out I have a quite serious spine disease. It's called ankylosing spondylitis, where you actually get inflammation in your spine, and it's extremely painful. And most people with this disease, well, a lot of them, they just can't do like everyday things. You can't tie your own shoes, you can't put your t-shirt, you know, many of them actually on the wheelchairs, and it's a serious thing. So when I found out I was ill, then I had to do something about it. Obviously, I didn't want to become one of these people. So, and especially my line of work requires a lot of physical activity. Then I started really reading and educating myself, and then, you know, I already have a background in sports science, so I kind of knew where to go and where source the correct information. And I actually believe even more now, and like I say, I'm living proof that through nutrition and healthy lifestyle, you can pretty much reverse a lot of disease. And it's working for me. And you know, there was a time when I was having more and more work, more and more clients, so I could not work out as often as I would like to, and my diet was suffering as well because of the, you know, just the time constraints, and I was like living this rush London lifestyle, and it just came back again. So I was again, I ended up in the hospital. I couldn't move couldn't walk for a few weeks, and then I decided this is not gonna come back ever again. And I've changed my lifestyle completely. I wake up 6 o'clock every single morning. I have a funny thing, most people have alarm to wake up. I also have alarm to go to bed, so my alarm rings
Wow,
at 10,
okay, that's nice.
10:30 every night.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So to make sure that I have half an hour to get ready for bed, 11 o'clock, I'm in bed pretty much every single day. I wake up at 6, 7 I'm at the gym, and it works.
Wow, that's a really amazing story, because that's one of the first things I've noticed about you. And you know, you're right. A lot of people, you know, do, you know, go to the gym. A lot of successful people are health conscious. You know, I'm in the gym personally 5 to 6 days a week, and it's for me what I get out of it. And I'll ask you what you get out of it. It's do you mainly just do weightlifting, or do you do any sports as well?
No, I do mainly fitness, and like I do weights, but I do some other like fitness activities, but not much of the games. It also serves me as a good. It wipes out my mind.
Yes.
I come so. You know, we have so much stress these days. It really pushes down on you really, really hard. And when I go to the gym, you know, all that, it just disappears.
Do you find that sometimes going to the gym is not really a health thing? It's more of like a relaxation thing? I just want to go there, just relax.
Absolutely, yes.
It doesn't make sense to some people, but it makes sense to us.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
So these people that know what we're talking about, they probably appreciate it. People that don't know, maybe they should try. Because it really, to me, is not just a gym isn't just for my body. It's also sort of like a mental temple for me. I'm not one of these social goers. I go with my phone, take selfies, none of that. I go, I work really hard, I sweat, I'm in the zone, like literally. I don't talk to nobody. It's just me and my body and my mind, and it really works all together. And I come out and and
Feel
I'm ready
fresh,
to
feel good.
take on the world.
And you do it in the morning, so you must have the blood flowing for the rest of the day.
Absolutely, yes, it fuels me for...
And I just have one quick question, because it's not really unrelated, but it's related to the gym. So like, you know, like when you're benching and someone would ask you, oh, how long are you benching for? And I'll be like, for example, or I'll be like, oh, I just started. Like I'm like, yo, I want to get in and get out. But some people want to change. They want to. Hey, can we swap? Do they do that sometimes?
Well,
like, hey, can we swap? Can we do
see,
that?
that's one of the side effects that came with my lifestyle change. When you go to the gym at 7 o'clock in the morning, there will be very few of you.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, when I used to go to the gym later on in the day, yeah, there's a lot of people. You struggle to get your routine, you know, the way you've planned because this is not available.
Oh, yeah.
You know. But in the morning, there's usually, first of all, there's much less people. Second of all, people that are there, they actually dedicated. They'll be more like you than you won't see too many, you know, girls in full makeup and taking selfies at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, because that's not what they do at this time.
Only the committed would do it at
so
that time.
you know, it kind of sorts itself out.
No, that's really cool. I want to touch on that topic because I saw that you were very fit. So, but I want to jump back to the photography world, if that's possible. Maybe just wrap up with a couple of questions. So, what is it that you like about your job? What do you like? What is it that you fell in love with photography?
I enjoy interaction with people. That's probably main thing that I really enjoy in the process. And this one, I like quotes from other people, the people that's smarter than me. There's a photographer I really like, and his name is Peter Halley. Again, if you want to follow him, please do. Well, he said in one of his interviews that on my door should be written Dr. Peter Halley, not photographer Peter Halley. Okay. He says, because I'm 80% psychologist and only 20% photographer. And I really think that is true. And this is how, and also some other, you know, it answers another question. How can I stand out? Because everyone is a photographer these days. Your personality is because everyone can have the same camera these days. Everyone can, well, most people can afford the same cameras. Before it was, you know, really big. You know, it was really hard to get the entry on the professional equipment that really top pros were using. These days, pretty much anyone can have the same camera that world's top photographers use every day. So it's not that in question anymore. It's not about the equipment. It's not about Photoshop because everyone's using it. It's not about, you know, it's the one single factor that differentiates photographers one from another is their own personality. And I truly believe that this is where you need to focus your efforts to just be a good man, and people will say it.
Fantastic. And I do want to end on two questions. Well, first off, I do want to talk to like top-end professionals, people who has been in the field for 10 years. And so what are the more, when you're doing a photo shoot, let's just look back at the photo shoot 2 weeks ago when I was with you. What are some of the subtle things? Oh, let's talk about adjusting the model. So what are some of the things that you tell the model to first get comfortable? Because a lot of people, when the models come in, stare for...
Absolutely.
How do you get the models warmed up and ready for photography?
Well, lucky enough, I mostly shoot fashion. So I work with people that are professional models already. So that is rarely an issue. But on the job that we met, it was actually someone that is absolutely not, not a professional model. So people feel about being photographed even worse than going to dentist. They terrified because let's face it, you're being judged, and no one's like being judged. But there will be like group of 10 people on the other side of the lens, all looking at you and judging you. So no one likes that feeling. So I like to just boost the confidence, and I never talk about posing. You don't know me long enough, but you barely ever, probably never hear on my shoots word pose or posing or pose. I really don't like that, because the moment you tell somebody to pose, it's unnatural. It's not something that you do every day. It's something that most people probably never ever done. So how can they possibly be good at it? So I like to tell them to actually not to think about it. The more you think about it, the worse it gets. So it just, I like to introduce to people to a scene. That particular shoot we had a book author that we meant to portray for the book cover, right? And so I basically told him, just imagine you in a gentleman's club. We had a beautiful Chesterfield leather chair, and I just introduced him to the scene, so he feels, when you feel it, your body will follow.
Yeah, I just kind of imagine myself in a gentleman's club.
What people usually try to do, they try to force body into positions that are not, and your mind is running, oh my God, how do I look? Just get your mind sorted first, and the body will fall naturally in that concept. So when that very particular example, I say, just imagine in a gentleman's club, you holding cigar, although we didn't, but you know, men like to have a cigar. It makes them feel good. It makes them feel confident. Just imagine you, I don't know, CEO of the big company. You're just sitting there waiting for the biggest contract of your life. You know, things are great, and you know, you're the man. And just look in the camera when I tell you, and bang, you have that picture, right?
I'm gonna start using that a lot because like just imagine, because I do a lot of video shoots and people get tense. You know, just imagine like you're talking to the, and then I'll use that.
Absolutely, this is definitely where you need to start. Fix the mind, body will fall in place. And the people that begin in photography or videography, they're trying to do the other way around. And when you try to position body finger by finger, just put it there, then the mind, it just, you know, just really says no, and and it looks awkward.
And then do you do outside shoots as well, or okay? So can you talk about when do you do event photography?
Very rarely.
Very, very rarely. One of the problems that I face, maybe some people face with event photography, is like maybe if it's a large location, adjusting the ISO all the time, so you can't really, you know, shoot. I don't know, like I find it difficult to always shoot in manual, and oh man, it was high too. It was overexposed, underexposed. So what would you suggest for someone who's shooting an event where there's a lot of different lightings going on, situations? Would you suggest to shoot an automatic, or what would you suggest for someone shooting different
when
locations?
I do shoot events, I always 99%. I mean, in general, not events. In general, 99% of my pictures are shot on manual. In a, like when we're talking, probably in most events are indoors, so I would adjust the exposure on manual exposure, everything so the room looks sort of alright, and then just use the bounce flash to make people look good. Okay. So there's always something you can bounce the flash off. And as a matter of fact, you know, now that we have the cameras with such high ISO, then you don't really need that much light. So this flash gun that, you know, 10 years ago, when the ISO 400 was already grainy, you know, it wasn't that much powerful. But now when you have ISO 4000 instead, this flash all of a sudden has this much more power. I mean, it just gets so much more light. So even in the massive rooms, if you bounce light off a wall or ceiling, I'm yet to encounter a situation where that wasn't possible.
No, I think it was, I'm trying to think of a situation of just multiple ISOs, but all right. And then one last, I want to get into some technical questions as well. Just one last technical question that I've had with photography. It would be, now I'm just thinking about it.
I can just to add to the previous question, you know, most of your cameras, they have like 3 settings, like 1, 2, 3, that you can just do set your settings, and it's like a memory for the settings, right? So you see, you don't use it.
Right, cool.
And that's great, because I mean, it's great to use, because often on events you will have, like, let's say 3 sections of the room, and then it will be bright there, dim there, and whatever in a third part. If you have this, if you set up your settings each one. All you need to do is just one click and you're ready to shoot in the other. One click, you're ready to shoot there. And that's where most people struggle, because you say, oh, it's bright here, it's dark there. But there's a way of fighting it. Exactly. You set your dark settings, you set your bright settings, and all you have to do, you just turn around, one click, and you're ready to go. Turn around, one click, you're ready to go. And all your pictures are great.
Fantastic. So I do want to wrap up with a few quick questions. But first, would you mind just telling people, okay, what is Pro Image Studio, where you're located, and what type of photography you specialize in?
Okay, Pro Image Studio is located in East London, Bark in particular. We have 2 floors. One is the one that we shoot in here right now, so it's more of the, we keep changing. There's 4 sets, you can't see it, but it's several shooting sets that made to look more of like for interviews or like some contemporary fashion or other sort of lifestyle-y scenarios. And the other studio upstairs is just all white, where we shoot mostly like e-commerce and some catalogs, lookbooks, this kind of stuff. Some music videos as well, where it's just plain backgrounds required. So we have large infinity wall. So this is what our facilities look like. I personally mostly shoot fashion and advertising projects. So I work mostly for brands rather than individuals. And so it's a little bit different. Most people that starting probably will work for individuals, but that's like, you've mentioned that question before. This is like next level. When you start working for other businesses rather than individuals, you know, the possibilities all of a sudden are much wider, because you know how much you can charge for a photo shoot an individual person, right? You know, there's a certain amount where, you know, it's kind of hard to get over. But when you actually work with other businesses, it just, like I said, I actually read a lot of business books, and then there's one good advice that I've seen recently. All businesses have problems. Yeah. And if you provide a solution to their problem, they'd be willing to give you sometimes large amounts of money. Okay. Because you just never, no problem is too big or too small. And if they have it, then obviously they don't know how to resolve it. Yes. And then if you come and resolve that for them, they'd be very happy to pay you money for it. It's the same like with my business. Oh, just a simple thing. Few days ago, our website got hacked. And well, there was a problem all of a sudden. And well, I'm not confident, although I built my own website, I'm not confident enough to rebuild it and fix it and remove the malware. And so we actually started looking for someone to provide the solution. And I actually spoke to a few people, and wasn't exactly happy with what I heard. But then there was that one guy that, you know, it just sounded exactly like he had all the right answers for all my questions. So I hired him, and the money wasn't a problem really, because you knew because I know he's gonna do it for me. Okay. And it may be more expensive, obviously not God knows what amounts, but more expensive than others. But I'm happier to pay him more than pay less someone else. It's the same like Apple computers. Everyone knows they're twice as expensive as most others. Yet the shops are always full, right? Because people know that we live in times where quality is appreciated, and I feel the same way. If you provide a quality service and solution to a problem that someone else has, the money comes as a side effect. Okay, so just the last couple questions just to wrap up. First off, patience or urgency? Urgency. 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 You need to take action, because not taking action is not going to take you anywhere. You won't even know what the possible outcome would be if you don't try it. So yeah, patience is important, of course, but always say yes and figure out later. Urgency, I like that. I'm an urgent person. I know you read a lot of business books. You spoke about that. You mentioned it a lot of times within the interview. So can you recommend 3 business books, you know, that people should read? Absolutely. I would say I will name 3 books, and I would recommend to actually reading them in this particular order, because they're from the easiest and the smallest one to the harder and the hardest, and then the more volume. So the first one I would say is compound effect.
Compound effect.
It's about personal development and business and life in general. And very, very helpful and very condensed, so it's really easy read and very powerful. It just urges you to action again
Okay.
as soon as you put that down. And the next one would be Grant Cardone.
Wait, Grant Cardone, GC's in the
10
building.
times rule, which
10x
is
rule,
10x. We'll post the links under the video. And the last one, I'm actually reading it right now. And as a matter of fact, I read all these books several times.
Wow.
Because it's just, it's sort of like motivational speeches. You can listen to it
definitely.
every day.
Again.
Because, you know, every day you get up in the morning, read one chapter, and it just empowers you. It gives you that fuel to reignite your passion. And sometimes we all feel down. And then when you read, you know, some of these books, it just gives you, at least gives me that real desire for action and gives me energy. So one more time. So it's compound effect, 10x, and then the last one is success principles.
Success principles.
Yes.
Yes. So those are the 3 books. And so before I ask my last questions, I like to ask all of my guests. So first I want to acknowledge you. So first off, I noticed when I first met you here in the studio that you have a very positive energy about you. Your energy kind of really glows, you know. Very bright smile, by the way, very bright smile. And then that's really good. I really felt very warm around you, and you have very positive energy. Secondly, you're very decisive. Now, you're not quick to make decisions. You know, for example, like you said, just recently with the spyware and your website, you assess all the decisions, and then boom, you went for it in a decisive manner.
Calculated risk.
Calculated risk, but when you make a decision, you go for it. You're not bouncing around. And I think that's a trait of a photographer. You got to direct people. You got to boom, go ahead, right? So very decisive. And then lastly, your skill set. And I was on your Instagram, and I saw that you shot a photo on an iPhone, and it was absolutely amazing. I'm gonna flash the image on the screen where people can see. It was like, wow. I mean, I was very impressed by that. You know, you shot that on iPhone, and it was very high quality.
I do like to challenge myself. That was strictly professional. I mean, strictly personal project. So, really makes me. You probably, if you're into photography, you probably hear that a lot. Every time you take a decent picture, people say, "Oh wow, you must have amazing camera." And I was not even fed up because I don't take this thing seriously, but I just wanted to show people that how wrong they are, basically. So I said, you know what, I take just as good pictures with something that you can't possibly point out as an amazing camera or something. So I just decided to use the camera that everyone these days basically have in the pocket. And I think that the results are actually, you know, close to commercial quality, and I'm sure there's many brands that wouldn't be shy to use it as a commercial project. So for all of you guys starting into photography, you don't need millions to get into it. You just need to be creative, passionate, just like we spoke, be a good man in the first place, and the people will gather around you.
Yeah, and then so that really ties into what you said, and also this, like I said, the skill set. So you have the personality and the skill set as well. And last question I'd like to ask all of my guests. Before we do that, where can people find your personal Instagram account?
On Instagram, pretty much everything about me, it will be the same. It's my name, which is Jarek DUK. It spells Jarek DUK. So you can find me Instagram at Jarek DUK. And my website is same, jarekduk.com, jarekduk.com.
This is where they can find all the photography work that you've done. And
pretty much, yeah. I do also have a blog in there that I try to post. And a bit lagging behind lately because we have such a large volume of work, and also on the personal side, I'm getting married in 2 weeks.
Congratulations! Wow. Wow. Well, thanks for doing it.
Unfortunately, had to prioritize, but please don't get discouraged. I will be posting. I will be back soon.
And then proimagestudio.biz is where people can hire you at the studio.
Yes, is this.
So
venue that we're in right now.
Thanks for what. One question I like to ask all of my guests. London in one word.
Opportunities.
Thanks guys for watching. Appreciate you watching. Subscribe to the channel. Links all in the description below if you want to check Jarek out. Appreciate it. See you guys next video.
See you guys.